Hello,
Olá,
how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Bom te ver.
You're practicing your Portuguese.
Yes, always, always ready.
How is everything in Norway? Warm?
Yeah, it's very nice. The spring has finally come, and the weather is better than in the winter, and everyone is more happy. So that's cool.
Very good. And
Yeah,
before we talk about Dream Chaser, Universal Chaos was released like 5 years ago.
yeah.
What took you guys so long to put out new music?
Well, the obvious reason is the pandemic. Um, we were we were touring in we did our last show in Lisbon the 11th of March before the first lockdown. So when that happened, it kind of took the air out of us a little bit because we felt that we were on a roll and just starting to kind of develop as a band and getting bigger and gaining audience. And also, yeah, we didn't see each other for a very long time. We don't live in, we all live in different cities. And I had my family to take care of. And, things just started uh, yeah, to slip away from us a little bit. And I find when we decided to make a new album, I found it especially very difficult to be creative in that time of yeah, well, in that situation, we were home a lot, just staying inside. So to be creative, finding things to sing about, talk about, it was very difficult, and we never kind of met. Like the band members never got to meet each other. So I can take a lot of blame because Nikolai and Peter they sent me some ideas to the songs, but I had like a real drought. Like um, yeah, I found it very difficult. And being a Dropbox band as we were at the time, we didn't feed off each other as we did from before when we got to rehearse together and, making music with our our type of music, you need each other. So it was a learning process. Took a lot of couple of years to get through it. But finally it it kind of developed into what I think is our best album ever. So
Yeah. Did you ever, because of the pandemic, a lot of people, you know, question their life in the sense of, you know, priorities.
yeah,
I know a lot of people, family became a priority and,
yeah,
work is just work at the end of the day. And if you have a hobby, like if you don't make money out of music,
mm,
for instance, like some bands, they opted to just spend time with their family and
yeah.
whatever, pay the bills. And was there a time for you where you thought, it was fine having Rendezvous Point, but I don't think I'm going to make more music?
Well, it's a good question. And I think I can speak for everyone in the band that we're not doing Rendezvous Point because of money. We all have different jobs. I'm a full-time artist, singer, doing freelance stuff. Uh, and that also, I was not allowed to do that during the first stages of Corona as well. So I didn't, yeah, music became kind of a hopeless place in a way. But then again, we're artists and creators, and we all have something inside that urges to come out. Um, and for us, it's these songs. It's being able to perform on stage and connecting with the audience and with the fans. So that never, I never lost the urge, but it felt kind of hopeless at times because we never knew how long it was until the next time we were able to go play.
Yeah.
So actually, what kind of was a turning point for me was, I think it was 2 years ago at Mandatio in Portugal. We played a festival gig outside, and I re-experienced how wonderful my experience is to sing with Rendezvous Point.
Mm.
So that gave me a lot of fuel on the tank,
Yeah.
to push forward. And I think as long as every member in the band wants to, that we want to give it a proper try, even though people have families or busy work schedules, and
Yeah.
it's just we believe there is a strong force in the music and us five together, that we really feel that we belong on the big stage. So yeah, we make our favorite songs, luckily, and we are able to release them, and we find that people kind of feel the same as us.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, the album is really good. There is some like go up, you go down a bit. Like the song The Torment, I was listening to it and there was some kind of anguish in the song.
There was a what did you say? There was
It was a bit, I felt a bit anguished, I was like, there was like a sense of losing hope during that song.
Yeah, it is, and that's also a story about. I, I'm quite fascinated by um, the idea of an artist being tormented. Like there's a romantic, there have always been, like when you watch the great artists, painters or musicians, that there's some level of discomfort and anxiety and tormation behind like the genius.
Yeah.
And we often tend to romanticize that. But what I wanted to, that song is kind of a reflection of how maybe my kids experience me when I'm at the dark place, just striving to be, finding like my my musical, how do you say it? Finding my inner art, like
Yeah.
the perfection of creating the best music ever. Then I tend to be less of a good parent or less of a good partner. And I also imagine how it would be for other kids having their father putting the art and the music or the writing or whatever before everything else in life. So it's more of a reflection from watching the tormented artist from the outside.
Yeah.
And in that there lies a hopelessness, because many great artists has lost their battle with like anxiety and depression and madness in pursuing like their inner art form or
Yeah.
whatever.
Did you put a lot of pressure on yourself?
Yeah, well, yes, in a way. Mm, on a personal note, I find that music is so important for me that without it, I can't seem to function. I can't seem to have a good sense of feeling about myself, even though I live a super privileged life with a great family and live in a safe environment in Norway. It's something deeper inside that forces me to want to perform as as good as I can to reach people, to have the opportunity to make music and yeah, and connect with the audience. And a lot of pressure was during that period where I was reading emails online, messages like, where the heck is Rendezvous Point? Why are you guys not doing anything? So when I felt that I was the one at the handbrake, it kind of tore me down. So in that, many of these lyrics and melodies kind of comes from that, yeah, that almost like, as you said, you feel like giving up sometimes, and you feel like, okay, probably the band is better off without me, with someone who could really perform or to make music in a shorter period of time.
But you know, I think we, you know, as you were saying earlier, we tend to romanticize a lot when it comes to artists and, you know, painters, football players, and we kind of tend to forget the human side of them. And they're just like the normal people, just like
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And I think fans tend to forget that sometimes that the person you see on stage, it's still a human being at the end. He still has a family, he still has a place, and a lot of them still have jobs, and this is like a normal life. And people tend to forget. I think the 80s, with all that glam stuff, with
Yeah.
you know, throwing stuff out of the hotel rooms.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah,
think it
yeah.
gave the wrong impression to people that rock and roll
But
was a different.
that was before social media. People could get like away with it, with
Yeah.
not being kind of yeah, if it's true. And if it's me, or if it's someone like a bigger artist, I think the fans or the audience always have the same level of expectation to always come up with new things to keep people's hunger satisfied in a way. But I'm as normal as it gets, and things takes time. And of course, you know, struggling a bit with depression and anxiety in during my whole life, actually. But like in Corona, it was super hard. So I hit a few walls, was able to break through them, but it took time. But you know, through depression comes inspiration, it gives you strength when you come up on the other side, and then you have like more opportunities to create. But of course, it was a big pressure on myself,
Yeah.
not from my band members. They were kind of very patient with me, so I'm happy for that. But yeah, I felt it every day when, you know, okay, the deadline was now 7 months ago. I'm still not finished with this freaking song, but in the end, we got there. So a sincere apology from me to why it took so long, but you know, now we're here.
Yeah. Do your kids know exactly what you do? Do they have that? Do you like? Do you explain to them that dad's job it's doing this? Because
Yeah.
I,
Well, in a way, they know that. Well, they know that I travel a lot. When I work, I often fly off to different cities and perform, and then I always come back. But it's been a long time since I've been touring. My youngest son never experienced me touring. Um, it was a Corona baby, but like my oldest daughter, she was 3 weeks old when I first started touring. So she has known it for her whole life, and they often watch YouTube videos. They watch the live concerts. They tell me that they listen to our music in the kindergarten and in the schools. So they're quite proud of it. And especially my son, he loves when it's rock and roll music. He loves boards, drums, and yeah, he dances like super intense to the music. So they are quite proud
Yeah.
of me having that as a job.
So you see, it's not, you know, sometimes you put pressure on yourselves, but the kids kind of, you know, they are more understanding that we might know they are.
Yeah.
You know,
So yeah, lucky to have a super patient wife as well. So
yeah.
that clearly helps.
Yeah.
But you know, it's going to be difficult, and it's going to be unusual when we start touring again. We have a lot of plans for 2025, so I have to prepare them that maybe I'm not there on their birthday, or yeah, I'm going to be away for a longer period of times. But that's kind of how it must be.
Yeah. And, you know, with today's technology like FaceTime or, you know, WhatsApp, whatever, you can make video calls. I know it's not the same, but, you know, it kind of helps when to see them and to have like a more like.
Yeah, I can participate in a way, but what I find that the kids are like, it's better maybe not to do it, because then they see you and you're so close. And for them, it's like they want to kind of reach out and grab you, but then you're like on the other side of the world, and it becomes, yeah, a sweet, bittersweet experience, especially for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me as well. But you know, I agree what you say. It's a very nice tool to have to keep track of what's happening at home.
Yeah, normally I do that with my nephews, you know, and because they're in Ireland, I'm here. So what we do FaceTime calls, and you know, it's not the same, but
it's better than
nothing. Exactly.
Yeah.
And on Dream Chaser, the last track, Stillwater, you guys go more into the orchestral side of things with the string arrangement. How did that song came about?
It started with Nikolai doing the piano intro. That has been something he had been working on quite some time, and we all kind of are very into the orchestral sounding, like film scores, music, you know. And the tension from starting something super naked and honest and tiny to kind of big, to work like to have a whole experience of development into something huge and great. So that it's more like a sonata than a kind of prog song that starts out with me and Nikolai, and the lyrics is very personal and repetitive in a way, because that's often how it is. You feel something and then you move on, but then you feel the same again and then you move. Yeah. So this is mostly Nikolai's like musical work. He wrote the string arrangement and the piano figure. And of course, the other band members contribute with their excellence. And it was a very nice song to show maybe my more melancholic side. It's a very honest portrayal of me as a vocalist, so I enjoy that.
Yeah, I think it's one of the highlights of the record, the song Stillwater. And is it something that you guys would like to explore more in the future? Obviously, you guys are for the prog side, but, you know, exploring this, you know, this more orchestral string arrangement, because I think it works really well with what you guys do.
Yeah, I totally agree. we've done some before, like Wasteland. I don't know if you remember that one, but that's also very orchestral and huge. The thing is, we want to make great songs, and we want to make a musical universe that's not like uh, not necessarily put in a genre.
Yeah.
I think it's where we are now. We don't think about like we're progressive metal heads. We're just kind of a cool band that has created something that has its own identity.
Yeah.
So from that, the songs that comes out like is as varied as like the whole day. You feel something and then you want to listen to that, and then you feel another thing, and then you want to listen to that. So there's a quite gap between like the mood in the songs. You have the angry ones and you have the kind of fun ones if you want to. Then you have Stillwater, which is, I think, is also our favorite. A lot of us really want people to experience that as like the concept of the album, and like the mother song.
Yeah.
And then the other ones can be like, yeah, additions to that one.
Yeah. Is it important when you guys go write not to have like really boundaries musically? Obviously, there is the staple sound that you have, but always keep an open mind to
Yeah,
experimentation, because I think as a musician, as an artist, it's important to challenge yourself and try different things, you
yeah.
know, not go completely hip hop.
Yeah, well, just wait and see. And yeah, I agree. And my musical taste is super varied. Um, I'm not from the classical progressive school. I think maybe like if you don't, if you put Yes out of it and a couple of other bands, I didn't really listen to prog that much before I heard Rendezvous Point for the first time. So with that, I have my musical preferences when I write my melodies. So I think it's, for my own part, it's very important not to be too influenced by other um, recipes, like musical recipes. I often, and this is not like, this is just my humble opinion. When I listen to other progressive bands, I may, I might get a little stick of this, but I feel sometimes that the melodies can be quite like same recipe,
Yeah.
um, because of that's how it's are supposed to be in this musical genre. So when I write, it's just like any other thing I write. It's just from the heart, and I want the melody to contemplate the music. I want it to make sense. I want it to be create dissonance. I want it to feed up under what the other guys writes, and then I have to be completely free. I can't like think that, okay, this is not very prog. We can't have that.
Yeah.
If it's a good melody, if it fits the lyric, if it, yeah, if it fits the song or the album or the atmosphere, and if I get a kick of it, it's it's uh, it's going to be on the album. But we had one discussion. I wrote a chorus. Yeah, it's from Oslo Syndrome.
Yep. The second
I
song.
wrote the chorus, which like for a year I was persistent. I want that melody to be the chorus. But the other guys in the band, and Gunhild especially said, it has to be more. It has to be more energy. It has to be more energetic. And it was like, then I have to kill my musical baby. I can't do that. So it's just a terrible, like, struggle. I can't. I don't know the English word, but they eventually convinced me to try to write something else, which now is the chorus. And how do you see it? It's a more fitting chorus for the song than what I originally wrote, which is like the bridge. The bridge is originally the chorus of the song.
Okay.
So I put it in there, but just not like the main chorus.
You just switched the place of it anyway.
Yeah, and it made so much more sense. So I'm very happy that they convinced me.
Yeah. It's important, again, as you were saying, one thing is when you exchange files to when you're writing, but another thing is when you're bouncing ideas, face to face with other people.
Yeah.
And, it's not easy to have a discussion and to give up on an idea that you have.
No, but it's easier when it happens like face to face in present moment. When I wrote it and it took like forever, and it just was like back in my spine that was going to be the chorus. It was harder for me to give that idea up because I really trust my first
Instinct.
Yeah, my first instincts. But it's a way of being mature as a musician and a band member as well. We have to be honest and we have to trust each other. And we have a democratic political form in the band. So yeah, of course I could have used my veto, but that wasn't going to do anything good for the band.
Yeah, very good. And Geirmund, before we go, you talked about 2025. So for touring, I guess that's the plan for the bulk of the touring for this new record. It's going to be next year, or is there something planned already for the end of this year?
I'm afraid that it's been a transition in like the whole Rendezvous Point universe and the crew. So we're a bit too late for festivals and touring this year. We're talking about something like in October or November, but that didn't plan out as we wanted to. So, but we're going full force early next year. Want to do a lot of festivals. Sorry. Want to do a lot of festivals, and we want to tour as much as we can with our schedules. Obviously Board is doing Leprous tours, and the other ones have their own projects. So we have to squeeze in as much as we can, but we really, really miss touring and playing in front of our audience and people that don't know they're our fans yet, if you know what I mean. So we want to conquer the world, and we're not giving up before we feel that we've tried everything we can.
Cool. And the return to Portugal next year.
Well, sorry?
And the return to Portugal next year.
Yes, of course. We're looking forward to it. It was like, our two last shows has been in Portugal, and it was two magical shows. So we hope to come back in Comodatio, of course, but also other festivals and venues. We really like you guys. So yeah, and we miss you.
And we like you too. So you're always welcome.
Thank you so much, man.
Geirmund, thank you very much for your time. All the best for Rendezvous Point, and see you in 2025. All right.
Take care, man.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Thank you for the talk.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.